All right, on to news on the go for you now. Several young women who testified in the Timothy Omotoso trial are expected to break their silence weeks after the televangelist's shock acquittal. This follows the announcement by 3 Chapter 9 institutions of an upcoming inquiry into the court's controversial verdict. Watching today's developments is our senior reporter, Chriselda Lewis, who joins us now live from Braamfontein. And Chriselda, amongst the long list of concerns that had come from that ruling was the effect this will have on victims of gender-based violence who might be hesitant now about coming forward given how this case was handled.
Well, that's right, Ayanda. As you correctly pointed out, some of those young women who gave testimony in the case against Timothy Omotoso will speak to the media today. You'd recall, of course, since Omotoso and his two co-accused, Lusanda Sulani and Zukiswa Sito, were found not guilty, there were many voices of condemnation, Ayanda, against that ruling. You'd recall Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Justice and Constitutional Development basically said the outcome was worrying, as the presiding judge, you'd remember, in that matter had basically described the state's cross-examination as poor quality. It had also said that it wanted the National Prosecuting Authority to explain the weaknesses in that team and the case that they presented. So the Justice Minister also having demanded answers as well. So just a few days ago, Ayanda, you'd also recall that 3 of the country's Chapter 9 institutions indicated that they will launch an inquiry into the outcome of the Timothy Omotoso trial. While the terms and reference of that investigation are yet to be drawn up, the Commission for the Protection, the Commission for the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious and Linguistic Communities, that's the CRL Commission, the Commission for Gender Equality, as well as the South African Human Rights Commission, plan to call several individuals involved in that case to account. So you'd recall then Omotoso and his two co-accused, as I indicated, were basically acquitted on all 32 charges. Those included rape, human trafficking and racketeering. Now, just 2 days ago, the CRL Commission, where we are today, also announced the establishment of a committee which is comprising of religious leaders to look into ongoing abuses in the church. Now, this Section 22 committee is expected to begin its work in about a month's time, and then the recommendations of that committee basically, will make recommendations for a legal framework. So the CRL Commission says, it continues to receive complaints of abuse, spiritual transgressions, and abuse of religious freedom, as there's nobody who's basically monitoring the sector. So today, some of those women who had to endure years of pain sitting through and giving testimony in the Omotoso trial will finally have their say as a collective. It's definitely, Ayanda, bound to be voices of condemnation and, being let down by the justice system. This time, we will hear from these women what it is they have had to endure. And as you correctly pointed out, with the many voices of condemnation that we've heard since this verdict, or since that not guilty verdict, the concern had been that, such victims, would no longer want to come forward, would be too scared to come forward because of what happened in this particular case, where many say justice was not served in this matter, justice was not seen to be done. And the scathing attack that was given by the presiding judge in the Omotoso matter, basically saying that the state's case had been weak, they basically did not do their job. And many have been calling for answers from the National Prosecuting Authority about exactly what happened in that particular case. But today we will hear from some of these women who endured for many years in that particular trial. And without a doubt, Ayanda, it is going to be voices of disappointment, voices of calling for more action, voices of what it is that they feel after having to sit through that ordeal for so many years, even after the incident itself had taken place, and what course of action perhaps they would want to see take place, and perhaps call on government, to put more stringent measures in place, to call on the National Prosecuting Authority to ensure that this matter is not done just as yet, because you would know that with the many voices of condemnation that we've heard about, there's also this inquiry that the Chapter 9 institutions are calling for, wanting to know exactly what happened that we reached that outcome in that particular case. It starts at 10 o'clock this morning. It'll be live here on the SABC News Channel.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, it's an outcome that's caught the attention of the head of the NPA, who in a statement described this judgment as something that represents a travesty of justice. Chriselda Lewis, live to us there from Braamfontein. For now, thanks very much indeed.